Welcome to Sustaining Your Future. I'm here with Stephanie Rado Taormina and a good friend of mine who's here to talk about interior design and really how sustaining the future can happen at home. So, Stephanie, how are you?
I'm great. Nice
Good.
to be here.
So tell us a little bit about your story. Like, what would you like people to know about you to kind of kick this off?
Well, I have been doing design work for about 20 years. I have a degree from Parsons School of Design in New York City. Started out as a fashion designer and always wanted to work for myself, so I kind of migrated from fashion to soft home furnishings and then into interiors and art.
Great. How did you get into interior design to begin with?
About 17 years ago, when I relocated to the Berks County area from New York City, I was about to start a family and needed creative outlet and designed my house. And from there, just socializing and people seeing what I do, it just kind of spread word of mouth, and I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, I know, and you do an amazing job. What is it about the design end of things that's really like fulfilling for you? Like you've done design in a lot of different areas, whether it's clothing or product or now interiors. Like there's something about that that keeps taking you back to doing designing in general. What is that?
I think it's just about creating spaces, creating beauty and function and something new and fresh. And, as time changes and, our society changes and we evolve as people, we grow and our needs change and things look different and things look new, and it's about energy.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. And again, I think that's one of the things I like about your design is it does seem to always evolve and become very current and topical. Like, what are some of the current design trends that you see right now that are hot, we'll call it?
I think one of the things that I find really progressive is the use of old materials. For instance, old barnwood. And we live in an area where, you can easily gather barns that get taken down in Berks County, and the wood is beautiful, and it has a lot of patina and age and texture, and I'm using that a lot in my designs, whether I'm doing a custom design shelf or a farm table, or applying that whole concept to a planked ceiling or even a horizontal planked wall. Obviously it's used in floors, but I find that material mixed with more contemporary, comfortable, cleaner furnishings it's a beautiful contrast, and it sets a really nice foundation for being eclectic and original.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know we were sitting outside as we were kind of talking about things, and one of the things that we came across in this magazine was this great old room that's got kind of this repurposed table using some old planks in this great old farm setting, and it's such a neat use of really old materials with brand new materials, and kind of working the old and the new together in a way that makes it really homey and feeling good. And there's something about wood too that also gives a warmth to the space and this great sense of history. And I think as we kind of evolve and have grown over the years, that we have so many new things in our life, and it's fun to kind of look back historically on things and have those old pieces. Kind of an interesting thing, a trend that I've seen is antiques aren't really interesting today. I have some people with really expensive antiques that they can't sell them for the price that they even purchase them for because they're not in, whereas people are using old repurposed, whether it's wood or tables or chairs, that they've brought back in and reworked in a modern way, but it gives them that sense of history, but doing it in a way that's kind of fresh and new instead of those old antiques that came from the Pilgrims or, that came over on the Mayflower. So I think that's really interesting.
It's a lot of fun. Another thing that I find a lot of my clients want to do and I love and have an appreciation for is if you have an old chair laying around and, it's been sitting in your basement or your garage, I often will just take a look at the shape, and if it's really architectural or sculptural, I love, selecting a really glossy spray paint and painting it. and it takes on a whole contemporary sculptural vibe. So I'm doing a lot of that, or taking an old chair. Just had a girl tell me that, she's had this chair that was her grandmother's, and she was going to throw it away, and instead we revitalized the whole thing by, tweaking it with design details. I mean, I have a fashion background, so, we were taking tapes and we're using nail heads, and, it kind of has these dressmaker details, but it has the history that goes back. So it's kind of sustainable, and it's repurposing.
Yeah, I think especially for interior, this repurposing is a really big trend. What is it that you look for in the furnishings that when you say, I'd like to repurpose something, and I think probably a lot of that comes from somebody who's working on a budget, that you're thinking, what can I do?
Yeah, there is that element to it for sure. But there's something about looking at the way things were constructed years ago. I had just inherited these beautiful mid-century chairs from my grandmother's house, and they're what new designers are trying to knock off. So here you have the original thing, so why not select some fabulous new fabric and redo them, because that's what they're trying to do anyway with all the new designs.
Sure, yeah. So you look for pieces that have a strong sense of design to begin with.
Yeah, strong proportion, some type of sculptural element.
Mm-hmm. And maybe it's not a current design trend, but you take it and treat the materials and maybe the way it's finished in a way that makes it more current.
I either like to do something really bold and very graphic, or I like to go really neutral with some beautiful linen. Mm-hmm. So I kind of go in between a lot of detail or non-detail, so that it can let other details come out in the room.
Sure.
It's a balance.
Yeah. Either statement pieces or pieces
you
that
don't want
kind of work
everything
into the whole environment.
Yeah, not everything should read detail. It has to be a balance of proportion and everything. You want your eye to keep moving throughout the room. You don't want it to settle on one thing and say, that's great, and then nothing else sort of works together. So I like your eye to keep moving around a space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you see, as repurposing to me as a sustainable kind of direction in design? Do you see any other trends that are kind of following that same eco?
Well, I think the whole concept of the way we build houses, for example, people aren't using those formal dining rooms. They're just, their design aesthetic is being more efficient. So the spaces that you create going forward with design, I think, would just be more geared for the way people live, and not wasting space, but utilizing space, and thinking about like all the energy that it takes to maintain these really large stately homes. Like, I think people are more conscious of the energy that our homes consume.
Mm-hmm. No, and I love this trend, this tiny home trend that's been happening. I mean, you've got houses that are well under 1,000 square foot, that they're utilizing every ounce of space. There's that neat room out at IKEA that is 460 square feet, I believe, that has everything: a kitchen, a bedroom, a living room, all within under 500 square feet.
They're doing some really cool things. So it's just, it keeps your creativity stimulated, and when you find the right client with the right needs, you kind of can pull that information out and go with it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Well, great. We're going to be back in a minute.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.